Welcome to Euro Roundup, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, you are joined by two of the best looking hosts on Football Daily,
Yes.
Michael McCubbin and myself. Today we're going to be looking at football around the continent and what's been happening over the weekend. Your first suggestion, your first winner, comes from @M5_Messi, and they have said, Mikey, Barcelona.
Indeed, and in particular Lionel Messi, because despite only starting 19 of the 25 games played so far in La Liga this term, the Argentinian once again finds himself topping the La Liga scoring charts.
Wow.
In convincing fashion too. Only scored 4 against Eibar in their 5-0 victory on the weekend. He loves playing the Basque side. It's the second time he scored 4 goals against them in a single match. And he is now on 18 goals and 12 assists in 19 league games, a goal involvement every 57 minutes this season.
Wow.
In February alone, he secured both a hat-trick of goals and a hat-trick of assists in separate 90s, firmly carrying his side at 32 years old. And what's crazy is that this is a little bit of a down season for Messi.
Yeah, didn't he have his, you might go on to it, but...
yeah, his longest run without scoring.
Which was like 4 games.
Yeah, crazy.
It's unbelievable.
But yeah, just goes to show you that just when you doubt him, you know, in a similar vein to, Ronaldo at times as well, he just proves everyone wrong once again. 4 goals in this match came from just 5 efforts from the Argentinian as well, while he also found time to register the most dribbles in the game as well, with 2, actually quite, not too many for him. And in this regard, Messi was very much the predator rather than the creator in this match. 0 key passes.
That's rare.
Yeah, that's very, very rare for
I wonder how many times that's happened before.
But he clocked up 10 touches inside Eibar's penalty area, more than the visitors' entire front line managed combined in the Barca box. Just goes to show how dominant Barca were in this game. And that first goal was just a thing of beauty. Jeez. Little nutmeg, takes a lovely touch to take it away from the defender, and a lovely dink over the Eibar keeper. Well worth a watch if you haven't seen it already. Definitely the pick of the bunch, but at least all of his goals were pretty good. But that one was really, one of those goals where if it's anyone else, it's like one of the best goals of their career. With Messi, it's like
normal.
Maybe top 60. I don't know. But Zach, there was an unlikely star in this game, wasn't there?
There was. I mean, he grabbed the headlines a couple of days before. It was none other than Martin Braithwaite, who also got 2 assists on the night and inadvertently set up Arthur at the death with a deflected shot. Now, the former Leganes striker defied the social media hate, especially after what can be said as not the best unveiling video.
Purely embarrassing, to be honest. If you haven't seen that already, go and check it out as well.
They do love it over in Spain, those kind of videos, especially Barcelona and Real Madrid, don't they?
No matter who the player is.
Even if they're like a centre-back who's never done around the world in their life, they get them to try and do some kick-ups and some ridiculous skill. After those 2 assists, the Dane is now just 4 goal involvements behind the Frenchman for the season, which is quite a surprising narrative considering how much money was spent on Griezmann. Now, Arthur, who scored the final goal, put in a very noteworthy performance that consisted of his 3rd goal of the season, 2 tackles, 2 dribbles, and a chance created. After this win, it now means Barcelona have overtaken Real Madrid for the most goals scored in La Liga. Eibar, however, have slipped down to 16th after 1 victory in their last 5 games. But for Barcelona, they face Napoli tomorrow in the Champions League. Then Real Madrid on Sunday, which is basically the biggest game of the season in La Liga.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a title decider.
It's a 6-pointer, essentially.
And
it is.
I think if you'd told a Barcelona fan that they'd be going into that game on top of La Liga 2 weeks ago, or even a week ago, they would not have believed you one bit. And imagine, Braithwaite being at the centre of this all.
He's destined to score the winner, isn't he?
He is.
He's destined to score the winner.
He's destined to win Barcelona an unlikely La Liga crown. And,
there you go.
It secures Setien his job.
Martin Braithwaite.
Heard it here first.
Ballon d'Or winner 2020.
And that very neatly brings us on to our first loser from the weekend at the suggestion of @Liam98Wilson. And it is, of course, Real Madrid.
Yes, Real spurred the chance to go back above Barcelona as they played later at the top of La Liga as Levante beat them, surprisingly, 1-0. Now the visitors missed a host of big chances before Jose Luis Morales scored a late winner with a superb volley, ending his 2nd worst streak without scoring in La Liga, which was 21 games in a row since August 2019. And what a game to get the goal in. Now, Paco Lopez is the first manager to have won against Real Madrid and Barcelona at home in a single season since Unai Emery for Sevilla in the 2015-16 campaign. And that ended half decent for Sevilla. And to make matters worse for Los Blancos, Eden Hazard suffered a fractured ankle, which will put him out for some time. Some reports saying 2 months, could be longer, maybe a little bit quicker. Now, he only returned to action just last week, where he had a pretty decent game, to be honest, after missing almost 3 months with a similar injury. It's a sad case for Eden, right?
Yeah,
he spent a really long time at Chelsea, loved it there, loved it in London, won the Premier League several times, finally got his dream move over to Madrid for Real, and it's kind of gone a bit downhill, hasn't it?
It has, and it's just in that time that he's been out, there's been more talk of a move for Mbappe.
Sancho.
The likes of Rodrigo and Vinicius have developed decently as well, although Rodrigo's not really been in the squad that much in the last couple of months.
We'll get onto him in a second.
But it just feels like this kind of, the Galactico has already kind of lost its shine, as it were.
There is a little hint of a kind of, not necessarily I told you so, but a kind of bit like he was already getting on. It was almost as if he's now nearly 30.
Played a lot of football.
Football at Chelsea. Like, he must have played nearly every season, 50 plus games. He didn't really have a bad injury record in London, so it was kind of like an expected thing to eventually happen. But it is a very sad case, and I guess all of us here wish him the best. Now, you mentioned Rodrigo, and he can't be replacing him in Sunday's El Clasico, as he was sent off playing for the B team, earning a second yellow card after scoring. And I don't know what the goalkeeper's doing, but the goalkeeper comes up to him after scoring. He must have said something, and Rodrigo just goes like this in his face, celebrating. Personally, I think it's a bit harsh, but it was a second yellow. And
playing for the B team as well. You want to be on your best for, those are the games that you really want to, they're not that important in his development as a player, really.
Exactly. It's more game time, that is. Yeah. But yes, it's unfortunate. Now, Real were unlucky against Levante, though. They had 63% possession of the ball. They took 19 shots with 7 on target. In fact, they managed 12 shots in the first half alone. The most they've managed in the first half of any game this season. The host had just 8 shots with 2 hitting the target, so it's unsurprising that XG was in favour of Real Madrid with 1.9 to 0.7. But Mikey, who was Mr. Man of the match?
Well, it's surprising you say that, because basically the reason why Levante did win this game, despite having such a poor XG compared to Real, was their goalkeeper, Aitor Fernandez. He made 8 saves on the night, most crucially keeping out Ramos' header in stoppage time. Actually was a very easy save to make, but obviously right at the death, and a chance for Sergio Ramos usually.
Got to be there to make it.
Usually when a chance falls to him in the last minute, he usually takes it, but not this time. But there were a number of decent performances. Central midfielder Nikola Vukovic was excellent too. 1 assist, 3 key passes, 5 tackles, and an 88% pass accuracy. Not sure if I got his name perfect with the pronunciation there, but we'll move on. Left midfielder Enis Bardi was also very impressive. 56 touches and 6 dribbles completed, a game high. As for Madrid, their defence is obviously, their defence has gained a lot of recognition in the last couple of months. Pretty much the best in Europe this season, but it wasn't great for Thibaut Courtois, who obviously has been proving a lot of the doubters wrong in the last couple of months. Probably should have kept out the goal, didn't really go for it. It was an electric strike, don't get me wrong, and very, very well placed, but Courtois kind of pulls his hands out of the way. He could have, I think he could have got something on it if his reactions were a little bit better, or if he was a bit more composed, or if his positioning was a bit better. But I think when you look at his performances over the last few months, I think you can forgive him. But nevertheless, another keeper may have saved that. Ramos and Varane also didn't have their best games. They conceded 6 fouls between them, so a frustrating night for them. Going forward, like you were saying, Real really should have scored. They completed 33 crosses, which is also the most that they've managed in an away game this season.
Completed 33, that's mental.
That is, and Benzema also had 4 shots alone, 2 on target, 11 touches in the opposition box. And the kind of form that he's been in this season, you would have expected him to score as well. Hazard actually spurned their best chance, 3 shots in total, 13 touches in the opposition box, failed to find the net. So all in all, just a very, just a very sad evening for him. Isco created the most chances with 4 key passes, but Zidane's men just couldn't find the breakthrough. They take on Barca obviously next weekend. We've already spoken about that. That is going to be a massive El Clasico, probably the biggest one in a couple of seasons at least. And they obviously face another huge test against Man City on Wednesday. Let us know your predictions for that match in the comments below. We will also be covering it on Wednesday night on Total Football right here on Euro Football Daily. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss that live stream. Doogie will be on the sofa, so you can expect. Are you on the sofa?
On the sofa
and
as
so
well.
am I. So am I. We're all there.
Yeah, we're all there.
So great. All the gang are going to be there, but you know, Doogie usually very good value on these kind of shows, isn't he? Let's hope there's a banging goal and he has some sort of, you know, epiphany. But yeah, let's move on to our second winners.
Our next winner comes from a very special act. I've got a big forehead.
Hey, got done there.
Yes, so there we go. Mikey, they've said Lazio/Immobile. Why is it?
Indeed. Well, okay, firstly, let's put this out there. Very sorry, because I thought we were doing an embargo on Lazio and Immobile, but clearly not. But I can promise
when they're this good, we have to.
Well, I guess so. They're still obviously in the hunt for that unlikely Serie A title, aren't they? But yeah, I think we can promise next week, unless they, I don't know who they're playing next week, but unless they win like 10-0, they will not be making it in. But nevertheless, credit to them, because like I said, yeah, 1 point off league leaders Juventus. They remain there in the hunt after beating Genoa 3-2 away from home in the 100th league meeting between the two sides. They are now unbeaten in their last 20 Serie A matches, now winning 16 in that time, with just four draws in that time as well. But Genoa can probably feel a little bit aggrieved that they didn't get something out of the game. They managed 59% possession, had 13 shots and 6 on target, so Lazio set 12 and 7 on target, so a very even game in terms of chances. Obviously they had majority of the ball as well, and they only narrowly lost out on XG, which were at 1.57 to 1.42 in Lazio's favour. Inzaghi's side have now scored at least 3 goals in 10 games in Serie A this season. No team have more, which is pretty surprising considering the free scoring nature of Atalanta. But the Rome side, yeah, they're spanking teams, aren't they? And the key factor in this game was the clinical nature of their attack. 9 of their shots came from inside the box compared to Genoa's 3. And once again, it was man of the match, Luis Alberto, who was the enabler
this year.
For this. Yeah, having a great campaign, isn't he? Got 2 tackles and interceptions, so didn't shirk his defensive responsibilities, and also put up 5 key passes and 92% pass accuracy. He really does make it happen in the final third, doesn't he?
He'll be off in the summer.
Maybe, but he's also kind of in his late 20s. He's at that age where I don't know whether who's going to come in for him.
A big money move might not happen.
But I don't know. Yeah, maybe a Premier League side looking for a creator at more of a cut price. Inter have Eriksen now, don't they? But yeah, I wouldn't be that surprised. I think Real Madrid have been rumoured with him before as well in the past. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. But for sure, Inzaghi will want to keep hold of him. Also, another target for a lot of clubs this summer. We expect Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. Also had a great game here. 6 tackles and interceptions, 4 clearances, 5 aerial duels, 1. Absolutely bossed it in midfield, and up against it considering Genoa's kind of dominance. But one man has obviously taken the headlines after this game, as he has done so many times this season. It is the top scorer, I think, in Europe. I feel, Ciro Immobile.
Wow, it is Ciro Immobile. With his 51st minute goal, he has now scored 27 goals in Serie A this season, matching the record after 25 games, held by Antonio Angelino. I hope Angelino?
Unless it's a typo in there, but
I hope that's right. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Which was made in 1958-59 season. So quite a long time. He's breaking records left, right and centre. He's now scored 116 goals in 166 games since joining the club back in 2016. And he's just 2 away from his best ever league total of 29, which was set in the 2017-18 season, where he also managed to get 9 assists. So not too bad of a season. He's really enjoyed his time at Lazio.
Yeah.
He really has. I think people forget he was also at Dortmund as well before, wasn't he?
Yeah, and didn't do very well at all there, did he?
Yeah, been an absolute surprise. He now has 13 games left to beat this record, but he may have set his sights on something else. Higuain's record of 36 goals from the 15-16 campaign. so he needs to score 9 in 13 games to at least match it. And you know what? At the rate he's going at the moment, he may well do it.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised.
Now, the Italian has more goals at this stage of the season than the Argentine did in his 36-goal campaign. So, he may well do it. But do you guys at home think he will? Please vote in the poll above Mikey's head and let us know.
Our final loser from the weekend comes from the legend that is at Room Cobra, and he has suggested Schalke.
Yes, now we covered this game on Continental Club as the game to watch of the week, and you probably should have. Even though I said it's going to be 3-1, Chris and Doogie both said something like 3-0. It ended 5-0 to RB Leipzig as Schalke were torn apart at home to slip 7 points behind fourth placed Gladbach, who have a game in hand, all but ending their faint Champions League hopes with 11 games to play. Now, they weren't helped by Nubel misjudging Sabitzer's 25-yard strike after just 50 seconds and some catastrophic defending, which saw them concede 4 goals in the final 30 minutes to Werner, Holstenberg, Angelino and Forsberg. It continues Wagner's sides in different form. They have now won just 1 of their last 8 league games, drawing 5 and losing 2, and this is the second time in the last 5 games they've conceded 5 goals, also doing the same away to Bayern in January. Now, going forwards, things aren't much better for them. They didn't muster a single shot in the first half and have only scored once in their last 5 games, which was against bottom side Paderborn. The stats from this game really don't make for pretty reading. They had 3 shots with just 2 on target, whilst conceding 24 with 8 on target. XG had it to 0.3 to 2.9 in RB Leipzig's favour. What a surprise. It's been 6 games since Schalke created more than 1.1 expected goals in a single game, which was their 2-0 victory over Gladbach, and they now sit 13 points off leaders Bayern München. But, in contrast, the Red Bull side were pretty happy.
They were very, very happy. But just going back to that, that's relegation form from Schalke. That is relegation.
Yeah,
that's
they
the kind
went
of form we were seeing from them last season, maybe even worse. So slightly worrying for Wagner.
You think maybe it's tired legs? Like they went on a pretty decent little run of games, and then now maybe his system is just causing them to be a little bit tired, a little bit sloppy.
I mean, you did actually see that at Huddersfield as well. And obviously, he's got better resources at Schalke, but yeah, maybe it is a little bit of a hangover. But enough about Schalke. Like you said, Julian Nagelsmann, a very happy man this week. Obviously, beat Werder Bremen 3-0 last weekend. Spurs 1-0 away from home, obviously in the Champions League, where they were clearly the better side. So now very much favourites to go through to the quarter-finals for the first time. And they have now scored 3 or more goals in 14 of their 23 league games this term.
Jeez.
Lazio, eat your hearts out, because that is outrageous. That's like Man City kind of form. And for all their attacking brilliance from open play in this game, which we'll get onto in a second, Nagelsmann's side have many different aspects to their game. 25% of their goals, which is 15 of their goals, have come from set pieces in the Bundesliga this season. That's more than any other side in Germany.
I hope Chelsea don't pull them.
So yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'll be a match made in hell, wouldn't it? But yeah, it just goes to show how talented this side are. Yeah. How, obviously they've got a lot of depth as well. But Nagelsmann, as a manager, as a coach, really does think about every aspect of the game, and it shows. It really does show. Clearly, they're doing very well on the training ground in terms of set pieces and everything. And also, obviously, more good news for RB fans. After going 5 games without a goal, which is his longest run this season, Timo Werner back on the score sheet. Now he's got 2 in 2. That takes him to 21 league goals in 23 games. Wow. Still 4 off Lewandowski, but having his best season as a professional, isn't he, at just 23. After the match, the German did little to dampen the speculation around him, though. Obviously, a lot of rumours in the last couple of weeks linking him with a move to Liverpool in the summer, calling Klopp the best coach in the world. Imagine being Nagelsmann and then having a star player call someone else the best coach in the world. Come on.
He's not too far probably at the moment.
He's not wrong really. And apparently he continues saying, I won't rule out anything. We have the Euros in the summer. I want to focus on that tournament. Everything else I will think about after.
If that's not come and get me, please, I don't know what is.
It really is, isn't it? So Liverpool fans, let us know what you think in the comments below. Would you take Werner? I mean, obviously you'd take Werner, but
who are you willing to let go of? Which of the front 3 is losing their place?
I think there's been a lot of chat about this, but I think Liverpool for one season at least, can probably afford to not
Keep
get
all
rid.
three.
Keep all three and
I
put Werner
actually
in there
probably
as well. Like, Firmino might have to spend a bit more time on the bench, or just rotate or whatever.
Midfield.
But but yeah, I would be very, very chuffed as a Liverpool fan at the moment. But obviously, Mbappe was linked with them before, probably not going to happen. But yeah, I digress. But back to Werner's performance. He had another great game against Schalke. 2 dribbles, 3 key passes, 4 shots, 1 goal and 1 assist. Really showing like he has been this season, just an all-round fantastic attacker. But the man of the match was actually 22-year-old Christopher Nkunku. Watching the highlights earlier, he was far and away the best player for me. 94% pass accuracy,
Wow.
4 tackles and interceptions, 1 dribble, 9 key passes. 9 key passes.
Yeah, that is
Messi
ridiculous.
would be proud of that.
That is ridiculous.
That is crazy. And those 9 key passes led to 4 assists. He just ran the show.
It's against
in
the top league side
in that
as
little
well.
position, in that little position behind Timo Werner and Patrick Schick, who also had a decent game. I think it was Patrick Schick who scored from the set piece actually. He just looks so good, just feeding the attackers, making the most of what was a very poor defensive performance from Schalke, but just, looked like an absolute world beater. He now has 4 goals and 11 assists in 21 appearances this term, just from 13 starts. That means he's getting a goal contribution every 86 minutes. I'm very
RB
much...
Leipzig side are just full of stars, left, right and centre.
Yeah, they had Danny Olmo on the bench, they had Yusuf Poulsen on the bench, they had, I can't remember, the other player who escapes me, but they had 4 excellent players on the bench. They've got so much strength and depth.
I have a feeling there's a hint of like the Ajax of last season where their stars are just going to get taken.
Maybe, but they have a bit more power though. I think they have a little bit more power than
probably
Ajax.
more money and they're playing in a better league and they can offer maybe better football and a manager.
And they also have the ability to get in really talented players straight away, don't they? Just look at Olmo. Like, Olmo went there knowing that he wasn't necessarily going to get, wasn't necessarily going to start every game, despite Barcelona also being interested in him. Like, I think this is the RB Leipzig now have this pulling power. Obviously, Nagelsmann as manager as well. I expect he'll be there for at least another season. So I think RB can be fairly happy. But Werner almost certainly going to leave this summer, isn't he? But the likes of Nkunku, I can imagine him wanting to stay. And I've jumped on the Nkunku train now. I know he's been hyped up a lot this season, but he's really proved himself now, hasn't he? Leipzig now just a point off Bayern Munich. Do you think they can do it? Do you think they will do it?
I do. I mean, Bayern have a Champions League game tomorrow against the Big Blues, so they may be a little bit unfit going into there, or maybe their fitness might be a little bit less going into the weekend. They could slip up. I mean, if there's one season where Bayern are going to slip up, it's probably this one.
Yeah.
So go on, RB Leipzig. I know the rest of football hates you, but I really enjoy you.
It's funny though in Germany, isn't it? Like, everyone hates Bayern and Leipzig, but they probably would prefer
Bayern. I know
it's difficult. Yeah, it's really difficult. I'm behind Leipzig just because it'll make it more interesting.
So that's all we have time for on this week's ERU. No star of the week, unfortunately. It was going to be Angel Di Maria, but Messi had a better game and Nkunku had a better game. Yeah. And to be honest, the video is all very, very long. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Mikey, what else can they watch if they want to see more Football Daily content?
If they haven't already, go and check out the latest episode of Journeyman, which came out a couple of weeks ago on Football Daily. Myself and James went to Bury to kind of uncover what really went on at Gig Lane, what the future of Bury football is going to look like, which actually is quite bright because Bury FC have now been accepted into the North West Counties League. Obviously, check out Stat Wars. I believe you've been on it recently.
Yeah, me versus Jacko came out on the weekend. I think my Stat Wars Champions getting edited today. And why not like the video and subscribe to the channel? We'll see you soon. Hope you have a very good Monday. Bye.